In this video, I'm going to talk about a particular kind of self-care activity that I like to do called floating on Mental Health Minute with Cam. The kind of floating I'm talking about today doesn't involve getting into a raft or an inner tube and riding the waves down a river, although that's pretty fun and therapeutic in and of itself. But the kind I'm talking about involves getting into a sensory deprivation tank into water that is infused with magnesium-enriched Epsom salts. Now, I can only speak to my experience about floating, and I can tell you straight away that it is amazing, but I'll get to that later. I like to go to a place in Portland called Float On, and I'm going to take you on a tour of it in just a minute and show you actually the room that I typically try to book when I go on a float. And they have different kinds of pools as well, and I'll show you some pictures of those in a little bit. Now, the thought of getting into a sensory deprivation tank can be pretty scary. I was actually diagnosed with panic disorder several years ago. Haven't had an attack in years. But anyway, I was kind of concerned about maybe having a panic attack in the pool because I didn't know what to expect. But I did want to go floating, so I thought I'll give it a try. I knew that Float On had larger pools like the one that I booked, so I booked that pool, got in, put my earplugs in. There's a little ring to put around the back of your head to help your neck, help support your neck. You put your earplugs in and you turn off the lights and you're in there by yourself. Now, with me worrying about having a panic attack, I thought, okay, I'm going to get in here, but I'm not going to turn off the lights because that'll probably freak me out too much. So I was holding on to the side of the pool, and then after a little while, I'm like, okay, well, I'll turn off the lights, which you have full control over, but I'm not going to let go of the side of the pool. So I turned off the lights and held on to the side of the pool, and after a few minutes, I thought, okay, this isn't so bad. I'm going to let go of the side of the pool, and I did. And for about the first 20 to 30 minutes, with no sensory input, my brain went on all kinds of tangents because you don't have that information coming in, so your brain has to entertain itself, basically. So all these thoughts were just racing through my head, not necessarily bad things, but maybe just things I needed to do or upcoming things, stuff like that, work things. And then after about 20 minutes, I started to realize, oh, I can hear my breath. And then a few minutes after that, I thought, oh, I can hear my heartbeat. And then a few minutes later, I thought, oh, I can hear my heartbeat in my breath. And it wasn't long after that that I just fell asleep. And it was some of the best sleep I've ever gotten in my life. And now when I go floating, it takes me maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes to shut off my brain. I let it do its thing. And then I just start focusing on my breathing and my heartbeat. And really, it's the height of mindfulness, just being in that moment. And I fall asleep every time. So the water and air in the tanks in Float On are at the same temperature. And it's pretty close to your own body temperature. So that once you've been in there for a while and you really start to relax, it's hard to tell where your body ends and the air begins, or the water begins or ends. It's just all kind of melds together so that you really just, it feels like you're just suspended in space. And it's just amazing. It's like if you're wrapped in a very fuzzy, warm, comfy Snuggie floating in the clouds on a bed of marshmallow cream. I know that sounds corny, but that's the best way I can describe it because really there aren't any words to describe it. Researchers have found a number of benefits to floating. One of those is that it helps your body release endorphins, or your feel-good chemicals, and that can help lighten your mood a little bit. It can help relieve and release stress. Another benefit is because of the buoyancy that you're experiencing in the pool, there's less gravitational pull, which means that there's less gravity pulling on your joints and muscles, and it can help relieve some of the aches and pains that you might have, including maybe some headaches. It can help increase your circulation and also help you get more restful sleep. Like I said, I fall asleep every time I go floating. And by the way, people say, aren't you afraid of drowning? No, I'm not. Because there's so much Epsom salt in the water that you can't sink. In fact, if you put your hand under your butt, there's maybe this much room between your butt and the bottom of the pool. And now, without further ado, I'm going to take you on a little video tour of Float On that I go to. It's located on Hawthorne Boulevard in Portland, Oregon. The staff is amazing, the atmosphere is amazing, and I'm going to give you a little guided tour. So here we go. As you walk in to Float On, the reception area is just very welcoming. The staff are friendly and helpful and will answer any questions that you have. The colors and layout are very conducive to relaxation. There are magazines and art books and art on the wall and water and tea and comfy couches. And then you go into the back, and behind these doors are where the float tanks are. And there are a variety of different ones for you to choose from depending on your comfort level. We have the zero gravity tank, the ocean float tank, the evolution pod, and the one I always pick, the float pool. And that's the one we're going to go inside of. Now you can see the light switch that I told you about. You're in complete control. There's the little ring for your head to support your neck. The pool area is very open. You are provided with a robe and slippers in case you want to get out. Earplugs, highly recommend wearing them. You have Q-tips for afterwards. Make sure you take a shower, especially after you get in the pool, because you will need to rinse off all the salt that's all over your body. You should take one before you get in the pool as well. And I am going to reach my hand into the pool and touch the bottom so you guys can get an idea of just how deep it is. And it's kind of hard to see, but you'll be able to see the depth with the water line on my arm when I pull my arm out and it gets into the light. It's not even up to my elbow, so it's about 11 inches of water. I hope you've enjoyed the tour of Float On.